In Module 5, we're going to focus on building an organized community, thinking about how can you plan and implement routines and procedures in your classroom. This is very, very important to have your classroom set up for success. So things you're going to consider are how to create a daily schedule and classroom routines that make sense for you and your students. How do you establish and maintain those routines and procedures? They don't just happen automatically. And how do you support students? You have to teach the routines and procedures and monitor them for implementation to make sure that they become internalized and the students can become self-directed learners. Throughout this module, you're going to focus on those things and hopefully be set up to have a wonderful classroom with self-directed learners. Have fun.
When establishing behavioral expectations and focusing on how to maintain them, your immediate goal is to create an environment in which all students can learn. And beyond that immediate goal, your goal is for students to internalize behaviors that will help them be successful in life outside your classroom. Planning and implementing classroom procedures and routines is an important part of setting up an effective classroom environment. While flexibility and spontaneity definitely have their place in the classroom, students need structure in order to feel comfortable and confident. Knowing the daily schedule and routines gives a sense of security and allows them to concentrate on learning. Getting procedures established right away will ultimately help your focus move away from the management of the class to the learning of your class.
In the elementary classroom, student learning is supported by the establishment of routines and procedures. Many teachers find that students work best in an environment in which routines are clear and simple and the schedule varies little from day to day. For students, there's security in knowing what to expect. Establishing a daily schedule that is posted in your classroom not only helps ease the transition from one activity or subject to the next, it also gives students a clear picture of where the day is going and what they are expected to achieve. Many teachers find that general routines are not only valued by students, but lower their stress level as well, making for a far more comfortable learning environment. More time must be spent in the beginning of the school year introducing and practicing routines and procedures. The most successful routines are ones that are modeled and discussed by the class so students have a chance to not only understand how they work, but why they are necessary. The more time that is spent at the beginning of the year giving students the opportunity to internalize routines, the more effective they will be later on. Classrooms that have effectively established routines run smoothly and efficiently and optimize the amount of time students have for learning. Your goal should be for students to be able to clearly explain and follow the procedures, routines, and daily schedule in your classroom after the first week of school. If this happens, the result will be much more learning time throughout the year.
Rules and procedures are very important to internalize. In the beginning of the school year, I feel if I don't get these things under their belts early on, I feel like the rest of the school year could be a big problem for me. For example, lining up. The students basically do everything I want them to do when it comes to lining up. I think because, one, I am standing right there, and after reviewing the rules on a consistent basis for 2 to 3 weeks, they know exactly what to do. When we first leave the classroom, I set the mood by picking groups of tables. So the quietest group, I say table 3, group 3, you're the quietest, great. Group 1, can you get even quieter? Okay, group 5, can you even beat that? So I have a whole row of quiet students from one end of the room to another end of the room. Okay, and I have line leaders already picked out. The back of the row, and the beginning of the row, they know exactly what they're supposed to do. How? Because we reviewed it before the year started, and we've been very consistent on this. That is the key word, consistency. We open the door up, and I also make sure that the person holding the door, everyone walks by and says, "Thank you very much." Common courtesy, we have to have that. The kids walk out and I say, 3 doors down please, to the line leader. They take the class 3 doors down the hallway. They know exactly where to go. This is all the way through the whole year. They walk out, I walk out, I'm standing there watching. Sometimes I'm standing behind a fence, just my head showing. Sometimes I'm standing in front of them. Sometimes in the back, just watching. But generally speaking, it's a quiet row of kids walking down the hallway, and I'm just standing there. When we get to the end of the hall, I review them, I look at them, I usually give them a pat on the back and say, "Excellent, this is exactly what I wanted to see. You're perfectly quiet, it's single file, no one's turning around talking to anybody, no one's doubling up, no one in the library even knew you were here." It's fantastic, way to go people. let's get going. All the way to the cafeteria, please. If by chance we're walking down the hallway and somebody says something, they turn around for some reason, whatever reason it is, and I see that, I say, please go to the back of the line. And they know they spoke, they shouldn't have said anything, whatever the reason, they walk out the back of the line. Okay, they do that. Okay, so there is a consequence. And that's established in the first week of school. You know, they're testing the boundaries. They don't know exactly what I'm looking for, even though we reviewed it a ton of times. But 2 to 3 weeks maximum. It seems like it's redundant over and over again, but it totally pays off for the rest of the year. Consequences or positive reinforcement, they both work when taking the kids through transitions, any transitions. I particularly like to lean more on positive reinforcement. The kids seem to react to that more positively, and nobody's getting in trouble, and I use that the most. And also we can get to lunch a little earlier too if everything goes smoothly.
An effective teacher creates and maintains an environment that promotes student learning. Classroom routines and procedures make for a smoother running classroom and increase the amount of time that can be spent upon learning. Developing students' ability to understand and perform routines increases their feeling of productivity in the classroom. As a teacher, it makes your job easier as you are effectively managing the people in your care. Implementing clear, age-appropriate routines and procedures will help your classroom be one in which students are able to learn and grow every day.